Rise up, ATL, and listen. Producer Nick Roloff, who runs this channel, Rolly as we call him, says, we haven't reached 380 likes on a video in a long time. So I said, okay, challenge accepted. If you want the Falcons to make the playoffs next year, it's a weak NFC South. There's no reason why they can't. Like the video. Hit the thumbs up icon. 380 likes. That should be a layup for you guys. Falcons fans always deliver. So like this video. We got a jam-packed show coming your way here on a Friday. You're watching Falcons Today by Chat Sports. I am Harrison Graham, but on today's show, I'm going to hit you guys with the latest Falcons news and rumors, and we got a bit of a juicy one to kick off today's show. Jessie Bates, could he be a strong free agent target for the Atlanta Falcons? Bleacher Report predicted the top free agent safety to land in Atlanta as they, I think, took a look at like 10 free agents and where they might go, and they have Bates landing with the Falcons. Here's what David Kenyon had to say. He said, Cincinnati selected Dax Hill in the opening round of the 2022 NFL Draft. The bigger issue is the looming contracts for quarterback Joe Burrow and wide receiver T. Higgins, along with the other players entering unrestricted free agency with Bates this offseason. Meanwhile, the Falcons had a below-average secondary in 2022. First-year starters Richie Grant and Jalen Hawkins put together decent years, but the latter could shift to a rotational spot behind Bates. Atlanta has at least $56.4 million in cap space available, and that number is expected to rise. Bates is a logical addition for the Falcons. And I completely agree. This defense has to improve, especially on the back end and in the front as well. You put Bates in the secondary, I think it goes from like an average to slightly below average group to maybe a top 10, top 12 unit with A.J. Terrell as one of the best corners in the NFL. I like this quite a bit. I think Richie Grant takes a step next year as well. Jessie Bates is a ball hawk. He's one of the best safeties in the league. 71 tackles, 4 picks this year, 8 breakups. Good tackler as well. And you know, he kind of ran into that contract snafu last offseason where he wanted to get paid. They ended up franchise tagging him. And I think you look at Cincinnati with Burrow, Higgins, Chase coming down the line, you can't pay everybody. So I think Bates is a guy that if they weren't going to pay him last year, good chance they let him walk this year. Could tag him again. Guess we'll have to wait and see. But he's been consistent, man. Really, really consistent player. That 2020 season was absurd when he had over 100 tackles, 15 breakups, 3 picks. Had 4 picks this year, which I believe was a career high. So you're talking about a premier player, a top 5 safety in the NFL. And if you have a guy like that that can do a multitude of things, it really just changes the way offenses play you, because offenses fear a player like Jessie Bates. So you plug him in here with Richie Grant at the strong safety spot. Hawkins can become kind of a rotation guy. I like that quite a bit. Maybe you draft a corner in the middle rounds or something like that to pair with Terrell. I think the secondary could be pretty damn rock solid next year. I really, really do. But you need kind of that lead alpha dog, and I think Jessie Bates has proven to be that guy in Cincinnati, and he could bring that kind of winning charisma to Atlanta as well. So what do you guys think? Do you want the Falcons to sign Jessie Bates? Type S for sign or P for pass. I would like to go get him. It's going to cost you a lot, but you got cap space, and you got to improve that defense. So go get Jessie Bates. I'm typing S for sign. Talk about Marcus Mariota. FanSided listed a couple of cut candidates for the Falcons. They must have watched our show. Mariota, is he going to be cut? Well, he should. I mean, he basically left the team last year, and they can save a lot of money if they do. We've been saying this now. FanSided's on board. Here's what Nick Holton had to say. Cutting Marcus Mariota saves the Falcons $12 million against the cap, which, by the way, gets you to almost $70 million, and has an argument as the most obvious offseason cut in the league. Bringing Marcus back after cutting the veteran on a cheaper deal would make a level of sense, if not how the season ended with Mariota leaving the team. Cutting Mariota opens up the ability for Atlanta to sign another impact player this offseason, pushes their cap space well beyond $60 million, trailing only the Chicago Bears in offseason cap space. Listen, the Mariota thing just didn't work. Early in the year, there were some flashes, but the way it ended, kind of the, he said, she said, he's hurt, he's not thing, trying to save face, I think, on Mariota's side. I just think it's done with. I mean, Mariota and Arthur Smith have a history at this point, and does not seem to be a great one. I just think it's best. Cut him. He can go be a backup somewhere else next year. Seems like Desmond Ridder is going to be the quarterback next season unless they shock us and draft somebody, which they certainly could do. It's a pretty good QB class with Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and Will Levis. But if it's me, I kind of treat next year kind of like the Texans did this year, but with more higher goals where, hey, Houston will give Davis Mills, you get this season. If it doesn't work out, we're drafting a quarterback. They're obviously going to draft one. Same with Desmond Ridder. Hey, we're going to give you 2023. If you don't rise up, then we'll draft a quarterback in 24. I think that's kind of the approach. At quarterback, you can sign another vet or go with Logan Woodside as the backup. Adios, Marcus Mariota. Get going with BetUS just in time for the Super Bowl. Super Bowl props are always fun to bet on. You can bet on the game itself as well. Create an account for free, chatsports.com/betfalcons, but then deposit $100. You get a 125% deposit bonus. All you got to do is plug in that promo code Falcons125. Basically a pick 'em right now, guys. Eagles 1-point favorite, over under 50 points between the two teams. So, BetUS basically saying it's going to be a 26-25 game, 26-24, going to be a really tight one. So, chatsports.com/betfalcons, promo code Falcons125. Tons of prop bets to go check out as well. Do not miss any of it. Go get going with BetUS. You look at what Mariota did this year. He's just a backup. And I think I said this, head into the season early in the year. It's like Mariota is a fine kind of stopgap guy, but in reality, he's a backup quarterback. He takes care of the ball decently well, but the ceiling is just limited. The injury history is there. You're just not winning to the level you need to with Marcus Mariota. So for now, he sits there as the backup. But again, you save $12 million by cutting him. I think that's a no-brainer. That's an overpay for a backup. Ritter's going to be the starter. You could sign a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, but again, I would rather just evaluate Ridder this year and then 2024 QB class, Drake May, Caleb Williams, potentially a couple other guys could be very strong. If it doesn't work out, could draft a quarterback that year. So what do you guys think with Mariota? Do you think he'll be cut, type C for cut or K for keep? I think it's a no-brainer. He will be cut. I'd be shocked if he wasn't. Subscribe to Falcons today. If the Falcons make any roster moves, we will hit you with a video. So subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. It's 100% free. Producer Rolly, he's taken this on to almost bring you videos every single day. We've almost reached the threshold of daily videos, so keep subbing if you haven't, and the more subs we get, more videos we can do. Cut candidate number 2 from Fanside, Feleipe Franks, who has no career stats. Quarterback in college, good athlete, try to make him a tight end, can't catch the football. I just don't know what his role is in the NFL. Here's Holden again. He says Franks was a fun story throughout last season and camp this year as a player attempting to switch positions. His speed and playmaking ability are what has kept him on the roster, but it has been 2 years of these skills failing to translate into making an impact in games. Atlanta needs to part ways with Franks, even if that means replacing him with a far more expensive reserve option. Yeah, I mean, he just hasn't done anything. You're not saving a ton by keeping him, but what's the expectation here? Sure, you can keep him around the practice squad, keep trying to develop him. I'm fine with that, but I don't think this is a guy that can take a 53-man roster spot next year. Unless there's some massive growth during the offseason program, during training camp next year, I just don't see it. I think the Feleipe Franks experiment might have run out. All right, final one here. Jalen Mayfield, the final cut candidate for the Falcons, according to Fansided. Third-round pick, a lot of hype going into college at Michigan, a lot of hype coming into the NFL. It just hasn't worked out. Here's Holden one more time, saying another player who isn't going to save the Falcons enough to make a huge difference in their cap space. However, there isn't a question Mayfield shouldn't be back on the roster. Watching the huge difference in offensive line in 2021 with Mayfield and the drastic improvement without him in 2022, this season illustrates how big of a bust Mayfield was as a starter. He just hasn't been good. I mean, especially as a pass blocker. I mean, he just gets absolutely worked. Giving up 11 sacks in his career, and that's with limited playing time. They just haven't seen it out of Mayfield at tackle, guard, whatever. He's cheap. I mean, I would be open to keeping him because cutting him is not a huge financial difference, but he's not a starter. I think we've seen enough to say at this point in his career he is not a starter. So we'll have to wait and see how that one plays out. So name a player the Falcons should cut, and how about beyond Marcus Mariota? We know they're cutting Mariota, so you can type him, get him out of the way. But who else? Who else should the Atlanta Falcons cut this offseason? If there's someone that we're forgetting or that Fansided left out, let us know down in the comments. Remember, like the video. Let's set a record here on Falcons Today. And, of course, subscribe to the channel because we're going to continue to bring you videos just about every day. We're at about 5 videos per week right now here on Falcons Today. So let's continue to up that number. Are we at 10,000 subs yet, Rolly? How close are we? A few hundred away? Help us get there. 10K is a huge milestone. Hit that sub button. We'll see you next time here on Falcons Today.